Welcome everyone. This is Professor Richard Holowczak, and this is a presentation on getting a technology job. Who am I? I'm a professor at Baruch College. You can see my websites here, holowczak.com. I also have some videos on YouTube. Mostly I teach database management systems and data warehousing, sometimes big data, and occasionally fintech. Who is this presentation intended for? It is aimed at Baruch College undergraduates who are majoring in computer information systems. Much of what I talk about is also probably helpful for computer science majors and possibly even data science majors. It may also be relevant for other technology-oriented majors. Some of this also might apply to graduate students. As you're going through this video, you can substitute the Graduate Career Management Center for the STAR Career Management Center. The very first question that comes up when students talk about careers in technology is, what kind of a career do you want? Before you decide on a major, start taking classes, what is it that you want to do? There are many roles in technology that you could choose from. Things like a systems administrator, database administrator, a systems analyst or business analyst, software developers and engineers, quality assurance test engineers, data analysts, data engineers, data scientists, support technicians, product managers, project managers, and many more. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has an entire list of potential careers in technology that you could research. Each of these roles is a little bit different. In some organizations, they overlap a little bit. Some organizations do not distinguish at all, for example, between a software developer and a software engineer. Try and find out what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to focus on. That's a great place to start. Next, where do you want to do this work? Do you want to be a freelance software engineer? Do you want to work as a test engineer for a startup company? Do you want to be a support technician at a medium or small-sized company? Do you want to be a product manager at a large company? Your experience can be vastly different working freelance versus working for a large company, for example. So I think it's important to decide where you'd like to work. And then, possibly even most importantly, what industry would you like to work in? Do you want to work in financial services or doing fintech work, entertainment or gaming, retail or e-commerce, energy, construction, manufacturing, healthcare, consulting? A lot of systems analyst work in consulting. Or do you want to work for one of the big technology firms like an Amazon, a Google, or a Netflix? Picking that industry will help you further focus your attention and can also help you prepare for careers in that specific industry. So it's really three decisions. What is it you want to do? What size company do you want to work for? And really, what is the industry you want to work in? Here's the biggest myth that I run into when I talk to students about careers in technology, and really for any major for that matter. As long as I read some textbooks and I complete my homework assignments in my classes and I do well on my exams, I'm going to be able to get a job in technology. I'll just put out my resume and say I completed these programming courses and this database course, and the employers will see that and magically they will hire me based on my experience of what I've learned in the classroom. The reality is a lot different. There are a lot of additional activities that you should be working on or working towards as you are taking your coursework. Simple things like participating in resume review and interview preparation, working in an internship is vital, participating in a club, assembling a project portfolio, whether that's with in-class projects or independent projects, participating in hackathons, datathons, Kaggle competitions, and so on, obtaining vendor-specific certifications, and attending professional events like meetups, career fairs, and possibly contributing to open source projects. In general, I find that students who devote 4 to 8 hours a week on career preparations in all of these other areas tend to really improve their chance of landing a job in technology. the improvement is rather dramatic. So let's dive in to some of these additional extracurricular activities. The first is to get your resume reviewed and to prepare for interviews. There's really no class that you can take at our college that prepares you to review your resume and to do well in an interview. Many of us don't speak well under pressure. We get nervous during an interview. This is where interview preparation can really help. So the Star Career Development Center is the place for you to go. You can sign up for resume reviews. You can sign up for interview workshops. You can do mock interviews. You can go to job and internship fairs. And you can, in general, learn about different technology careers. By attending the different events put on by the Star Career Development Center, you can learn much, much more about careers in technology, and you can start to get comfortable using the language that employers are expecting you to speak. The Star Career Development Center also offers the Technology Leadership Development Program. This is a year-long program that mixes technology skill seminars, career training, industry partners and mentors, and mock interviews. There are guided sessions every week to put you face-to-face with professionals in industry doing the types of work that you might want to do with technology. The TLDP is a year-long commitment. It's about 10 hours per week, and the information sessions appear around February of every year. The application deadline is typically at the end of March or the start of April. In a similar way, CUNY Tech Prep is also a year-long training program. It's a little more technical in nature and mostly focuses on full-stack web development, things like analytics, also includes mentoring, mock interviews, resume prep, interview prep. Those applications typically open in February. So these are two programs specifically designed to guide technology students towards careers in technology. An internship is the #1 predictor of landing a full-time job offer after you graduate. Obviously, the best case is if you can land a paid internship doing what you want to do for a career in an industry that you want to work in, or even for a specific company you want to work for. Obviously, this is going to be the best case scenario. The next best case is going to present some trade-offs. Maybe you're not going to be able to land an internship in the exact organization you ultimately want to work for. But if you are doing the type of work that you're interested in, whether that's software development or systems analysis or administration, that's going to give you a lot of great experience that's going to look great on your resume. You could also end up doing something related to technology at an organization that you want to work for. Next best would be doing something related to technology at an organization you want to work for. So maybe you didn't land an internship in software engineering that you were going for, but maybe there's another technology role at the same organization, and you can use that to impress the company with your skills and your attention to detail and so on. After that, if it's really difficult for you to find an internship, look at volunteering. There are many not-for-profit organizations or other types of organizations that are in desperate need of help with technology. Even something as simple as building and maintaining a website or organizing a database would be a tremendous help to many organizations. Again, you would get a lot of experience doing the type of work that you may ultimately want to do for a career. Next up, how do you find a technology internship? The Star Career Development Center has Star Search, which is powered by a company called Handshake, and you can look for internships and job openings. Every September, there is an internship fair where you can get a chance to put out your resume and meet up with potential employers for your internships. It's very important that you have your resume reviewed and you do some interview prep before that happens. CUNY Spring Forward is a program that tries to align CUNY students with internships. Those applications are typically due in early October. CUNY Career Launch is another similar type of program. Those applications are due in January. The CUNY Career Launch internships typically run from July and August. There are various other websites like Forage, LifeSci, NYC, Skillfully that you can look to search for internships. Another big way that students find internships is by networking, which means talking to fellow students and talking to alumni. And I'm going to discuss that in a couple of slides here. Assuming you land a technology internship, what can you do? How can you make the best use of your time? I always think of an internship like those cash grab booths where they blow a bunch of dollar bills around, swirling around you, and you have to try to grab as much cash as you can in 30 seconds or something. An internship is kind of like that. It's a short period of time where you're going to try to maximize your impact and maximize your visibility. So a couple of tips. First of all, learn the company culture. Some companies are very relaxed and their culture is going to be very similar to your academic culture at college. Others are going to be much more formal. It's important to know how to dress, interact with colleagues, when and where you're going to work, whether you have to be in the office certain days or work from home and so on. Just learning that professional culture is going to be a great benefit to you. As always, show up early and stay late. Don't be the intern that says, well, that's not my job, or sorry, I got to go drinking with my buddies, I got to leave. That's really not going to make a good impression. It's also helpful if you keep a journal of things that you're learning. Learn what works and learn what does not work. Maybe you asked a question to someone who was maybe a few levels up from you, like a senior vice president or something like that, and they ignored you. That might be a good lesson, that perhaps your question might have been better directed to one of your peers. Keeping a journal will allow you to reflect at the end of the internship, and hopefully you can improve for your next internship or for your next job. It's also helpful to identify potential mentors. This might be your immediate supervisor, but it also might be a supervisor from a different department, or maybe even a few levels up in the company hierarchy. It doesn't have to be anything formal. It could simply be just a name where if you contact them in the future with some questions about career advice and so on, they can be a point of contact and a point of resource for you. Probably the best thing that you can do or get out of an internship is to learn as much as you can about how the professionals do it. Try and find out how the database developers write their SQL code. Figure out how administrators administer servers or administer a bunch of desktop computers. Learn some of their tips and tricks as to how they automate things and make a workflow work more efficiently. This is probably one of the biggest takeaways that you can get from an internship. It's also important to ask good and thoughtful questions, but don't be a pest. And this is really kind of a hard balance to figure out. And it is highly dependent upon the company culture. Some company cultures are very rigid. You may only ask a question to your immediate supervisor and not bother anybody else. Other company cultures, particularly at smaller companies and startups, may be much less formal. Everyone may physically sit in the same room together, and the interaction is much more fluid. The important thing is if you are asked to do a job and you do not know how to do that job, it's important that you ask for guidance. Don't sit there in your cubicle and fret and hope that the problem goes away. It's best to ask those questions when they come up, get some clarification, and then you can do your job. Finally, if you make a mistake, own up to it. Don't hide it. Communicate what you've learned from the experience. This is learning. An internship is a learning experience, so it's important that you pay attention to these things. Another big way that you can improve your chances of landing an internship And landing a full-time job is to participate in a club. This could be as simple as just simply going to a club and participating in their meetings and their activities, and it could also extend to leadership positions in those clubs. There are dozens of student clubs at Baruch. There are cultural clubs, career-focused clubs, sports clubs, many different things that you can do to interact with other students. The Baruch College student chapter of the Association for Information Systems, otherwise known as Baruch AIS, is a very active organization on campus. The Information Systems Audit and Control Association Cybersecurity Club is another. What do you get out of participation? Well, it shows that you've interacted with other students outside of class. This helps you build your social skills, such as small talk and informal communications. It's also great for making friends and making future connections when you go out into the working world. If you participate in leadership, it shows that you have the motivation, communication, and organizational skills to lead others. And many employers look for these exact skills. It shows that you can problem solve. There is no club at Baruch College that does not run into funding problems, organization problems, where we're going to hold our next event, do we have permission, do we have budget? Solving those problems builds very important skills. It's also great because you get to inspire other students. And very, very important, networking. Often it's the leadership of the club that is interacting with the professionals in industry, and those are the ones that you're bringing in for guest lectures, and they get to know you on a first-name basis. That's a wonderful entry point that might lead to an internship or maybe might lead to a full-time job in the future. Another activity that you would want to engage in is assembling a project portfolio. And we can talk about a bit of an analogy. An art student creates an artist portfolio. This allows the art student to show their artistic techniques, their style, their experience, and their range of talent. So when an employer asks to see their portfolio, they have something ready to go that they can show off their work. A technology portfolio is very, very similar. Technology portfolio allows you to show off the technologies, techniques, experience, and range of talent that you have. Portfolio is typically based on projects. Project could be a homework assignment. It could be a group project that you completed during the semester, and also could be a personal project. The best portfolios are a mix. Some assignments or projects that you were assigned in class, and personal projects that reflect your interests. And again, allow you to showcase the technologies that you used to solve or address the problems. Typically, project portfolios are hosted for free on GitHub. You can do a simple Google search, how to create project portfolio on GitHub. There are dozens of videos and tutorials to help you do that. A project should include some writing to introduce the project, discuss the resources and tools that you used, and your main findings or conclusions. Sometimes we call those lessons learned. Having a nice, concise write-up for your project will allow employers to find you and to see the work that you have done. One of the things that prospective employers will do is, as soon as you apply, they will Google your name and they will look for you on GitHub. If they don't find you on GitHub, it's assumed that you don't have a project portfolio, and that's already going to put you at a disadvantage. What makes a good project? And I've put this together in the context of sort of a data science or an analytics project, but you could easily tweak this to emphasize whatever skill you want to show. Whether you want to emphasize your software engineering skills or your visualization, data visualization skills, you should be able to adapt this set of advice for just about any kind of a project. First thing to consider is, what is the problem? What is the problem you're trying to solve or address? Are you trying to improve society? Are you trying to address a business or organizational need? Or maybe there's just some personal curiosity that you have about some aspect of the world, and you want to use technology to try to explore that problem or issue. This is always best if it's an area that you're passionate about in the real world, because that passion will come through in your description of the problem or opportunity. Next up are the data sources. Why did you choose the data set or data sets to explore? What is interesting about the data? And what do you hope to find when you selected this data set? Next up, extract. How did you get the data? Did you use an API? Did you just download the data from a website? And where did you load the data? Did you put it in a data lake or into a database or just sitting locally in a file system? Loading the data includes a database or a storage system. Why did you choose this particular database or storage system to store your data? The next step in the project is to transform the data. So what steps did you take to profile and clean the data? What issues did you find as you were cleaning it? And what steps were needed to transform or combine or merge or integrate the data? The modeling step is perhaps the most important for data science or analytics projects. First off, what model did you select, and what are the assumptions that go into the model? Why was this the appropriate model to use? What type of validation or test did you perform? And how was this model optimized? How did you implement the training and testing subsets? And, especially for data science, what is the underlying math that supports the model? The last two steps in the project are all about presenting the results. For visualization, how did you choose the visualizations? Why did you choose the ones that you used? How do these visualizations help you tell a data story? And last but not least, what technologies did you use to share and communicate your results? And what we've talked about is that typically these projects are shared through GitHub. Another set of activities that you can engage in to help boost your chances of landing an internship and a job are to participate in hackathons, datathons, and Kaggle competitions. A hackathon or a datathon is typically a short duration, focused, and guided team-based project. You may hear about things like an all-day hackathon or a weekend hackathon. Sometimes these run over 24 hours or 36 hours. The emphasis in a hackathon is on building a proof of concept, perhaps an application or an app or some type of an analytical artifact like a report or a visualization. The results can make a great project to show off in your project portfolio. I've listed some websites here that you can use to find hackathons in our area. Kaggle competitions are similar, but they're mostly focused on machine learning and data science. And here, teams of participants try and solve a specific machine language or AI type of optimization problem on a set of data that is provided. For those who are seeking more technical roles, like software developers or software engineering roles, I've often seen LeetCode and HackerRank mentioned. Both of these sites allow you to practice coding by solving problems. In the case of LeetCode, these are ranked as easy, medium, hard, or very hard. They include questions and problems that are often given during interviews. There's a heavy emphasis on data structures and algorithms, which again are a little bit more focused towards computer science. A couple of suggestions: pick one programming language to focus on. LeetCode and HackerRank are mostly about the data structure and algorithm that you write. It's not so much focused on the quirks or features of a specific language. Another suggestion is to look for highly upvoted problems and/or what are called curated lists on LeetCode. This way, you're focusing on problems that are likely to be seen during interviews, and you don't waste time working on problems that are probably not going to help you. HackerRank has coding challenges that allow you to move up in rank, and quite a few companies will assign HackerRank challenges as part of the interview process. There are also HackerRank competitions called hackathons that you could participate in. Again, these are more focused on those seeking developer or software engineering roles. There are many other sites that can help with this. sites like Topcoder, CoderByte, and so on. You can see the names here. Another area that I see a lot of interest in are vendor-specific courses and certifications. Examples like computer and network hardware, security, different software languages, database management systems, cloud technologies, and many others. It's important to know that the certifications are not a substitute for college-level coursework. However, they can serve to fill gaps in practical experience. It's important to be careful of certifications that have an expiration date and/or if they require annual maintenance payments. Some certifications require you to take a test, which can cost money. Also, be careful of third-party companies that advertise guarantees of obtaining multiple certifications or guarantees of employment. Read those contracts very, very carefully. Unfortunately, there are quite a few third-party companies that try to prey on students who are desperate for jobs by promising them employment as long as they pay for the certifications. Another important thing to do is to build your LinkedIn profile. This also helps build your online presence. Remember, prospective employers are going to Google your name, and the two things they're going to look for are a LinkedIn profile and your GitHub projects. Use your formal professional name, not a nickname on LinkedIn. Create a customized URL associated with your name. Make sure you write a brief summary of who you are and what you're looking for in terms of employment. Include a professional-looking headshot or picture. Include your education, clubs you participated in, competitions, hackathons, and so on that show your range of experience. Be honest. Employers do look at LinkedIn profiles, and they will look into any changes or anything that you are claiming. LinkedIn is a great way to make connections, but please don't pester people for connections if they don't respond to you initially. And don't forget to update your content as your situation changes. If you land a full-time job or an internship, make sure your LinkedIn profile reflects that. Another activity that you can engage in is attending professional events. There are many benefits to this. You get to meet people working in industry that you are interested in, doing the sorts of jobs that you're interested in. Again, it's a chance to practice your social skills and to learn about new technology products and things that are coming in the future. Meetups are a great way to do this. I've given you the URL here for New York technology meetups. There are also various career fairs around the city, industry conferences, and other activities. Most of these should be free, or they may offer discounted tickets for students. Again, it's a great way to meet people in industry, make contacts, network, and practice your social skills. One of the last things I want to mention here is contributing to open source projects. Again, this is also a way that you can expand your online presence. What are open source projects? Well, most of us spend our day working with things like Microsoft Windows or Mac OS, Microsoft Office, or maybe even with video games. Much of that software is closed source. We don't have access to the source code. But a lot of the other software that we use on a daily basis is open source. Software developers donate their time and expertise to create and maintain this software. You may have seen examples of this, like the entire Linux operating system, Mozilla Firefox, GIMP and Blender, which are used to process images and video. WordPress, the web hosting platform, is completely open source, as is most Python modules and R libraries. The software license generally allows people to use this for free. You could extend it, you can enhance it, and in some cases resell the software. How can you get involved in an open source project? There is a lot of ideas at this opensource.guide how to contribute link. I invite you to explore that. Sometimes you could get started just by searching GitHub for different open source projects and maybe contribute by helping to fix bugs or do some testing. You can also contribute by writing tutorials and helping to improve documentation. Most, if not all, open source projects have a great way where you can make an account and you can contribute and the authors of the software can see your contributions and fold them into the project. Again, it's another great way to get your name out there and to show that you're contributing to the community. Okay, here's the summary. Many of these come from questions that I get from students. Do I have to be a software engineer? No. There are dozens of other technology jobs that can match just about any skill set, from the very technical to the very managerial or business side of things. Do you have to work at Apple, Google, Microsoft, or one of these? No, there are thousands of technology jobs at companies of all sizes in all industries. Do you have to do everything on that long list that I just presented to land a job? Obviously not, but the more things you participate in, the better your chances are, especially those things that get your name recognized, like having a GitHub repository of your projects, showing up to hackathons, a LinkedIn profile, and contributing to open source projects. Do you need to spend a lot of money preparing for your career? Absolutely not. The STAR Career Development Center is free, as is the Graduate Career Development Center. Hackathons, meetups, all of those are free. Many online training resources are free, and obviously contributing to an open source project is free. When should you get started? Ideally in your first year. Even freshmen can participate in a club, attend a hackathon, go to a meetup, or do mock interviews. It's important that you do something, that you just get started. The most successful students that I have met tell me they devoted 4 to 8 hours per week on their career preparation. Now, if this sounds like a lot, it may be for some students who have a full-time course schedule and may be working part-time or full-time. The more you can do on these extracurricular activities, the more you can improve your chances of landing an internship, and that will help you land a full-time job. The most important lesson is, do not wait until your senior year of college to suddenly wake up and decide, hey, maybe I should start preparing to land a job or start searching for a job. Your career prep should begin as early as possible in your college career. That's all I've got to present for you today. You can find more tutorials and things on my website, holowczak.com, and more videos on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.